Hey there! For today's project, I'm going to be teaching you how to make what I call the Bollywood bead embroidery pendant. Now, the point of doing this bead embroidery is to teach you how to embroider using a point back stone such as a crystal Rivoli, as this one. It does a little bit different from what we did last week, but it uses a lot of the same materials. Here is a pink and gold sample. This is Purple Haze, which has a mallard seed bead, a tan seed bead, and an amethyst flat back. So, for the project today, you're going to need a 14mm Rivoli. I'm going to be using aquamarine today. If you want to see actually what the Rivoli looks like, it's here and it has a point back to it. You're going to need 4 SS34 flat back stones such as this one. Today I'm going to be using the aquamarine color to go along with my Rivoli. So 4 of those. You're going to need a 2 by 2 inch square of the Beading Foundation. You're going to need a 2 by 2 inch square of the Ultra Suede. You're going to need about 3 yards of 6-pound fire line with 1 needle. You're going to need some size 11 Delicas. Today I will be using the Capri Blue AB white lined. This is the Mayuki Delica size 11O. You're going to need some size 15O seed beads. I'm using the Silverline Crystal. You're going to need a really good pair of sharp scissors. These are actually scrapbooking scissors, but they're really, really nice and sharp, so they work well for my project. And then you're also going to need a bell similar to what we used last week. And then I'm going to be using two types of glue today. I'm going to be using the E6000 glue, and I'm going to be using the Zap No Drip gel glue. So, to get started, I have a sample piece here that I'm going to start you off with. You want your piece to be 2 by 2. This is not 2 by 2, but just so that you can see, you want it to be a 2 by 2 piece. You want to measure the center of your piece. Now, the reason that you want to find the center is because you are going to take and fold your piece in half, and where the center is at, you're going to take and make a small cut into the material. So just a little small cut. Then we'll fold it the other way, and in the center we'll make another small cut so that it makes a shape like this. Now, the reason we want to do this is we want to take our Rivoli and we want to put the glue on it, and for the Rivoli I'm using the Zap No Drip gel glue. I put it on the back and I pressed the Rivoli down into the V shape, or that X shape that you have there. And you can see the foil there in the little creases from where my Rivoli is inside of this encasement. So this is the side view, the top view, and the back view. Now, I did this beforehand so it would have plenty of time to dry. You'll want to do this a little bit before you start, and the reason I use this glue is because it's a little bit of a quicker dry glue, so I could start working on my project. Now, once you have this, you're going to thread your needle with your fire line, and you're going to need about 2 yards to start off with. And once you have got your thread on there, you're going to take, and at the very end, tie a knot in the very end. And you want to come up through the back of the piece. Now, real quick, I made my lines on the back so that way you don't see them from the front. But I can hold it up to the light and be able to still see where my center is. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come up through the foundation as close as I can get it next to the Rivoli. And pull that through so that your knot stops it there along the back. Now, a lot of the stitches that we're going to be starting off with are really similar to what we did in last week's video. I'm going to start out with the size 11 Delicas first. And I'm going to pick up 2 11s. Let those drop all the way down. Alright. Make sure they're up close to where your thread just stopped. And then you go down through the foundation right next to the Rivoli and at the last bead that you threaded on. I'm going to come back up through the foundation and then through the 2 beads that I just added. So when you get done, you have your first 2 beads in place. I'm going to pick up 2 size 11 Delicas. Let these drop all the way down. I'm going to make sure that the Delicas are pushed up against the last 2 that I just put on there. And I'm going to go down through the foundation right after the last Delica I put on and next to the Rivoli. And I'm going to come back up through the foundation between beads 1 and 2. Because just like last week, we are going to add 2 beads at a time, and then we're going to go back through 3 beads. So I'm going back through 2, 3, and 4. We're going to continue 2 11 Delicas. Drop these all the way down. Go down through the foundation right next to the Rivoli and right after the last Delica added. Now remember, I added these 2 here, but I want to come through 3, so I'm going to come back up through between these 2 beads right here. So up through the foundation. Sorry guys, get you back here. And then through, had a knot in my thread and then that just kind of pulled everything away. There we go, through 3. Alright, you want to go around the entire stone adding 2 beads at a time. It is very important that you only add 2 beads at a time because we need an even number of beads around the Rivoli. If you get back around to the front, and I'll show you when we get there, you want to make sure you have that even number, and you don't want to add 1 bead at the end. You want to have that, you don't want an odd number, you want it even. So again, you want an even number of beads around the Rivoli. Okay, so I've gone around. This is what my piece looks like. But right here, there's one bead in here would be perfect, but I have to have 2. So what I'm going to do is I've got my 2 beads on, and I'm going to come through that first bead that I threaded on. That way, this is what you have. I have 34 beads around my outer edge. If you can't put 34 on there, no problem. Put 32, completely up to you. But it just has to be an even number of beads. So I'm going to go down through my foundation. and come back through my 3 beads just like I normally would. Now, we have to peyote stitch around the ring. So, to do that, I'm going to pick up 111. I am coming out of this 11 right here. I'm going to skip 1 and I'm going to go through 1. So that when you pull, the new bead sits right atop the bead in the previous row. So I'm going to pick up 111, skip 1, go through 1, and we want to do this all the way around, picking up 111 Delica, skipping 1, and going through 1 on the base row. Okay, so I went all the way around, adding my size 11 Delicas, and when I get back here to the other side, when I skip 1, let's see, skip 1 and go through 1, and then, see if I can get it there. Then, when I pick up 1, and I skip 1, which is going to be this one here, and then go through the next one, I'm going to know that's the end of my row because there's no more to go through. Because I'm skipping this one. I'm going to go through this one if I can ever get my needle in there. There we go. So that now that I have all of them on there, I see my pattern. I can't go any further, so I have to step up. So to step up, I'm going to go through the first Delica that I added on that row. Now I'm going to be using my 15s. I'm going to pick up 115. I'm going to go straight through the next Delica sticking up. 115. Go through the next Delica sticking up. 115. Go through the next Delica. And I'm going to do this all the way around, picking up 115 and pulling it nice and tight so that it starts laying down over the Rivoli. Once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece should look like. As you can see, it's cupped and it's laid over my Rivoli, and that's exactly what I want. Now, if you want to, you can go back through this whole outside or this inside row here again to reinforce, but it's not required. It's completely up to you. So now that we have that attached, we're ready to start actually working in the bottom of the piece. So I'm going to stitch down, so I'm just going to go through my beads and then down through the foundation here. And I'm going to get my Zap gel glue back out. And basically, I'll show you on my sample here, I have a flat back here, 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 and here. You can see it maybe a little bit better on this one too because it's not as bright. So you can see the placement a little bit better as far as where the Rivoli is concerned. Now, I don't do measurements for this. This is completely, I like to eyeball it. You can measure it out completely if you want to. That's your prerogative. But I am not a measuring type of girl. So, now, when I hold it up, I can see that my line for the center is here. So I'm going to, whoopsie daisy, I'm going to put my crystal here. going to come down directly below it in a straight line. And I'll leave myself just a little room here. If you are a warp measurer, that would be your measurement. Then I'm going to come out I'm going to put some glue on another one. And I want to come over here to the side and put one, and I want to put it all the way up against the stone. Then I'm going to come over here on the other side. And do the same thing. So that when you do it, this is what it's going to look like at this point. Got a lot of white, and that's completely okay. So I'm going to take and let these 4 dry a little bit, because now we're actually going to be adding and edging all the way around the piece. Similar to what we did last week, we're going to edge this top one, these 3 bottom ones, and then we're going to come around and fill in some holes. Now that my 4 crystals are dried in place, I've taken the needle and I've come up through the bottom of the foundation, right next to where the flat back and the Rivoli are. I'm going to pull the thread on through there. And just like last week, we're going to use our 15s, and I'm going to pick up 2 15s. Let these drop all the way down. Go back down through the foundation right next to the flat back. Come back up through the foundation. And then through those 2 15s once more. Two 15s. Let those drop down. Go down through the foundation. Now, just like I've been doing on all the other ones, we added 2 here, but I'm going to go back through 3. So I'm going to come up between beads 1 and 2. And then go through 3 beads. So one more time, 2 15s. Let these drop. Go back down through the foundation. I've added these 2 here, 1 and 2. So I'm going to come back up in between these 2 beads right here. And then through the 3 15s. I want to continue, and I'm going to go around my stone. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come around this one. I'm going to go completely around this one, and I'm going to come around this one here. Remember, you can't go all the way around with the clear because your 2 stones meet right here. So just go until you meet the corners. Same thing here and here. Just go till you meet the corners. Once I've gone all the way around, this is what the piece will look like. I have my 15s here along the top and along the 3 pieces here at the bottom. Now, I forgot to mention earlier in the video, but you do not have to worry about having an even number of 15s around your pieces here. The only reason we had to worry about the even number here was because of the peyote stitch with the Rivoli. Now, I'm going to be using my scissors. Before I do that, let me show you real quick. On this pendant here, I went and I added a row of 15s to the sides of the Rivoli. And you can see where the gold is around the Rivoli. Now on this one, I chose not to do a row of 15s. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. I like both of them, but personally from my perspective, I like it without the 15s. But that is, you know, if you want to put those 15s there, you'll put those there, and then you'll do this step that I'm fixing to tell you now. So I've stitched through to the back of my piece. And I'm going to take a good sharp pair of scissors and I'm going to trim around the piece. And when I get to here, I'm going to trim a straight line from here to here and from here to here. And then continue to trim around. Do not trim off this thread. Be very careful and be careful not to cut any of the threads along the back of your piece. So, and you want a good sharp pair of scissors so that you can get into these corners. Okay, so you've seen how I got in that corner there. And I'm just going to keep on trimming around the edge. And you can get rid of some of this excess if you want to. So that way you don't have to deal with it. And just keep trimming all the way around the piece. Now that I've trimmed all the way around, this is what the back looks like. And this is what the front looks like. And you can see I still have my thread attached. Now, what I want to do with my back stitch techniques, just like I've been doing all the way around, is I want to go in and fill in these holes. As you can see here, I just kind of started filling in my holes. Anywhere that I had a hole, I just kind of started. Now on this one, I added a little row of 11 Delicas down in there too, just because I had the room. It's completely up to you. You can kind of play with this and have fun with it. I just like to put the 15s to kind of fill in my little holes and everything. So I'll come up through the work, and I like to start here and work my way downward. So just like I have been doing, I'm going to pick up 2 beads at a time. This way I can kind of gauge as to what I've got room for and what I don't have room for as I work. And you don't have to worry about anything being an even count number of beads, because this is just filling in holes. If all you can get is 1 bead somewhere, then so be it. We just want to fill it in and do some back stitches so that way it gets everything nice and tight on the foundation. So like right here, all I can add are 4 total beads right there, and that's completely fine. I just want to add what I can add. Then I'll come to my next row. Just dropping down beads and filling in spaces. Okay, so I'm just going to continue filling in my little spaces here, and then I'm going to tie this thread off. Using my E6000, I'm going to take and put a layer of the glue on the back of the pendant. And just like last week, be careful not to get all the way to the edge on the back of the pendant, because if you do, you might not be able to get all the stitching, get through the both layers of the stitching with your needle if you don't. So I'm going to take it, flip it over, and lay it down on my Ultra Suede. Now, when you lay it on the Ultra Suede, be sure and press it down really good and tight down onto the Ultra Suede. Especially since we have a Rivoli, which is the point back stone there in the middle. You can, it's going to bulge out just a little bit on the back, and that's fine. You just want to go through and make sure you get a really, really good connection. And then let this dry, and then trim all the way around the piece. Once you've trimmed all the way around, this is the back, and this is the front. I've got my needle threaded with another yard of fire line, and I put a knot in the end, and I use my thread burner to burn off the little tail so that I've got my knot. I'm going to come up at the top, separate the layers just a little bit, and I'm going to come up through the top layer so that when I pull, my knot will get hidden in between those layers. I'm going to be using my size 11 Delicas, not my 15s this time. Start off, I'm going to pick up 2 Delicas. I'm going to go through both layers. And I'm going to come up through that second bead. Pick up 111. Go right next to where my thread was coming out just a minute ago. Go through both layers. Pull. And go up through that bead. Pick up 111. I'm going to go through both layers. And then go up through the bead. One more time, 111. Go through both layers. And then go up through the bead you just added. So this is what I have so far. And I want to go all the way around the bead, or around the piece, picking up my 11 Delicas as I go. I've gone all the way around now, adding my edging, and I added the last bead up here near the top, but there's not enough room to put another bead. So I'll take the needle and go down through the first bead I started with here. And then up through the last bead I went through. So that way it connects those two together. Now, I want to do one more thing here. I'm going to go down through the first bead that I started with, because this bead isn't totally anchored yet. I'm going to go through the foundation, both layers of my foundation, just like I normally would, and then up through this bead. And that anchors that bead down, so that way everything is now anchored and looks good from front and back. So I'm ready to add the bell. And what you want to do here is find some beads that are close to the center here around the top, and we're going to add a loop so that we can hang our bell. That being said, this is the center of my piece. These two beads right here seem like they're a good fit for the very top, or I could do it over these 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think that's actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come down through this bead, up through this one, and I'm going to pick up, let's do 5 11s, and my bell. I'm going to skip 2 beads and go down through this one. Okay, and when I pull that thread, I want to make sure that that loop is centered, and that loop is pretty well centered. So I'm going to reinforce this loop again and then tie the thread off with a couple of half-hitch knots. Once you have the thread tied off, this is the completed pendant. So these are the 3 color samples that we will have available on our Etsy site as kits. We will also have materials available if you just want to purchase individual materials to make your own, as well as the pattern. I hope you guys enjoyed the project. Be sure and come back next week when I'm going to teach you. We're going to put more skills together to make this ring that will actually match our pendant quite well. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again next week.